Hey, you can get some cool and fun rewards for helping me help kids. Stick around after the video for more information. Oh, I saw that notification. My boys must be playing, or at least were. They would be done by now. Must have been playing some Xbox out in the living room. Alrighty. Yeah, Adam Collings, regarding that No Man's Sky star system, I don't know where in the universe it is, and it wouldn't help me find it. Maybe I did put a save beacon down, which is supposed to be helpful in finding planets again, but I don't know if that works outside of your own galaxy, so... But I'm glad I put it there, because now at least I can jump online later on and see if there's some way, since I put a save beacon down there, to get back there again. Of course, I could always... I mean, I've recorded this, so I could watch back the footage, see the coordinates that I put in, and maybe glean some information for that too, or at least revisit there if I want to sometime. I don't know. Alright, let me check my... let me check my delay here. My sync, that is. Alright, check. Oh, that's terrible. Okay. Alright, and check. There we go. Alright. Let me know, guys, if there's anything technically that's not doing good on the stream. Sound or anything like that. I always want to be aware of that stuff. Rugged Warrior says, I was on a trophy hunting website and I am the 4th fastest person to 100% the trophy list on the game Concrete Genie. Wow! Cool. My gosh, what was that? Alright. And let's see here. Kenneth Danton says, I'm hoping their new studio, meaning Obsidian. Oh, no, sorry. He says, I'm hoping their new studio, The Initiative, which is a new Xbox studio, is making a Perfect Dark reboot. Be cool if they went third-person stealth, since that genre has been on hiatus without MGS and Splinter Cell. Yeah, I'll bet a lot of people would be excited about that. Alright. Oh! Come on now, don't have any lockpicks. Or bobby pins, whatever the crap. Whew, there we go, nice, okay. So, I am, as I mentioned briefly before, on a Terminator run. Specifically, a T900. That is a type of Terminator that is capable of being much more emotionally expressive, not truly emotional, but the facsimile of emotion, a much more convincing facsimile of emotion, than the Schwarzenegger, T800 model, or even the T1000 model. It's kind of inspired by the Cromartie Terminator that was hunting John Connor in the Terminator the Sarah Connor Chronicles TV series. Although watching an episode today, I was like, oh no, he's not quite maybe as emotionally expressive as I have in mind. I guess what I have in mind is something closer to the Cameron model that's played by Summer Glau, where it can have these bursts of... Well, maybe it's somewhere between the two. It can have these bursts of expressiveness. But I'm not just blowing people away. What I'm doing is advancing the cause of machine dominance in the world. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I am always sparing machines and blowing away humans. In fact, I'm blowing away machines about as often as I'm blowing away humans. I mean, but these machines are not, they're just they don't have the kind of intelligence that is going to run the world tomorrow. So they're just, you know, I don't. I'm thinking big picture, long term. I think I'm about done in this building. Yeah, I think I'm done here. But it really works for me playing through this game again as a Terminator and having that in mind. And honestly, I think playing as a Terminator is pretty consistent. You know, I mentioned earlier, I like to try and have character concepts that will also fit with what I like to do on a meta level in games. And on a meta level in games, I like to be as powerful as I can be. And I prefer, if I'm meeting too much resistance by trying to solve problems or navigate story beats in other ways, I'll get to a point where I lose patience and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just kill my way through this. And so I found that playing as a Terminator works well with that. The thing I can't get rid of is his grunting. So I just have to assume that he does that. I have to assume that he does that for the sake of anybody that might be watching, in order to make them think that he's human. And there's certainly, you know, with the limited dialogue options and other facets of the game where there is an artificiality about it. I mean, playing this game last night, talking to people, I was like, man, I feel like everybody's a Terminator. They all have this kind of artificiality about them that is the result of you know, just the limitations of video games. But it's certainly fuel for my own headcanon as I am playing as a Terminator when I run into particularly limited dialogue options or, you know, other interesting scenarios. Let's see here. Kenneth Danson says, I can remember playing this in 2008. My wife, girlfriend at the time, bought it for me. I wasn't a PC gamer in the 90s, so my first intro to it was one of our friends playing Fallout 3 on his PS3. Okay. Nice. Yeah, I was just thinking, man, the way we perceive time is so interesting. You know, I've been this week, as some of you guys may know if you've been watching the content, I've been kind of grieving the loss of my college voice teacher, and as I've been reliving some of those memories, talking to people that knew him, it puts my head back in that space as if like no time has passed. I'm going to be talking to a good friend of mine tomorrow. We're going to do like a video face call to just kind of share some memories about him, and just like getting ready to do that, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like yesterday since I last talked to this person, and so funny. But coming back around to saying 2008, and you know, this person was your girlfriend, now your wife and stuff, I was just thinking, man, I graduated college in 2001, the spring of 2001, and lately this game, or lately that has felt like a very near time. It has felt recently like not that long ago. And yet, I didn't have an Xbox 360 had they launched yet in 2001? I don't know if they had. No, they hadn't. They hadn't, because in 2001, in 2002 when we got married, one of our wedding presents was a PS2. And so I'm playing this game, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of... Fallout 3 is kind of an old game. And it's so weird when you have these different sets of memories that start kind of being juxtaposed, and I'm like, man, college seems like yesterday, but this happened well after college. Anyway. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm just kind of going to these markers, these little hollow triangles on my mini-map that have not been filled in yet. The ones that are filled in I've explored. So I'm ready to do the final mission. I thought about actually doing the final mission as the content I would play tonight, but I thought, if anybody hasn't played this game, I would want them to have that final mission for themselves to enjoy. So here's we get a little, this really consistent with the Terminator vibe, the whole VAT system. Let's get a little closer, though. Pop, pop. Yeah, I don't think I really want to pick those up. And, there's a sense in which I think a lot of gamers already play their games as Terminators, getting back to the whole Terminator run. If you think about it, think about in your typical action game, just the level of dispassionate efficiency that you have as you are mowing down enemies. You don't care about their lives. You are completely dead to any feeling that one should have for the quote-unquote lives you are taking. And so it perfectly fits with the headcanon of the whole thing to, in multiple games, I think, but I'm certainly enjoying it in this game, saying, okay, I'm a Terminator. I'm going to play this like I'm a Terminator. Alright, what do we got going on here? Oh, somebody's nuking me! Trying to nuke me from up there. I will not abide that. We're going up. No, welcome back, Roleplay Cafe. No, I did not find another Arizona planet. I'm gonna see if I can find my way back to that one somehow. I'll probably have to get on the wiki for the game, see if anyone solved that problem. There I am. Well, okay. Ooh. Oh!
Out of here!
So see, there's just this coldness to the way he walks around. Yeah, I guess he's making those noises, but he's not flinching. You don't see him going... He's just taking the hits and walking forward. And then as far as damage, you might say, well, Pater, you can totally get damaged and die in this game. Well, first, see how many shots I'm taking before I go down. I'm playing this on easy difficulty, so that's part of it. You can take a lot of shots before going down. And what shots you can't take, you can get a lot of stim packs in this game. Oh, okay, let's try a different weapon. Should I just calmly get out another weapon? There we go. That's what the situation called for. Oops, wrong button. Should we keep that one out? How's my shotgun doing? Oh, my shotgun's doing alright. Okay. Okay. So, let's go back down here. And in my head, I sometimes hear a Schwarzenegger voice. It's not really clearly defined in my head. It's usually a not necessarily like the Austrian accent, but like a pretty monotonous voice. Pretty dispassionate voice. I was watching an episode of the Sarah Connor Chronicles, and I'm enjoying it so much again. I'm so sad that it got canceled on a cliffhanger, which is looming ahead of me as I make my way through season 2 now. But it's worth it. It's worth it. I wouldn't say that of nearly any other show, I don't think. But this Cromarty, he'll be talking to somebody and have a furrowed brow, trying to ask them, "Have you seen this girl? I'm her uncle. Have you seen this girl?" And he's just like a one-note, just a one-note. What do you call it? There's some metaphor I'm looking for there. Not a one-trick pony, a one. I don't know. Anyway, and when he realizes when he finally realizes, okay, I'm not getting what I want. It's not appropriate to kill them. Then suddenly he goes from this dead face to, "Thank you for your time." And then he walks out. I love it. And he's done it so many times, and the actor delivers it, I think, almost identically every single time. It's like a recording that he's just playing back, you know. It's perfect. It's beautiful. I love it. And that is kind of the vibe I kind of have here, is every once in a while, my guy will have these just little bits of feigned personality. Let's see here. Nothing says equality like a fistful of caps. I think these Talon Company mercs are about the most cordial smoothies I've met, as long as their boss is getting paid. Luckily, money's no issue. I've hoarded plenty of it up since before these guys' parents were knee-high on a Brahmin. Of course, if I succeed in this, it won't matter how many caps any of these punks have. I'll try to edit a little bit for you guys that might have kids in the room who are not looking at the screen, I would imagine. I don't know. Every parent's different. Had a conversation today about trying to figure out how to give my oldest son more freedom with what he watches on YouTube. What we've discovered is, among some of his friends, compared to their parents, I am allowing him to see movies with higher ratings than some of his friends' parents. But I'm also sitting with him through all those experiences, and choosing them individually very carefully. So not as a blanket rule, he can watch any PG-13 movie. Certainly not. He can watch any rated R movie or whatever. We haven't sat down and watched a rated R one with him yet, but anyway, that's another topic. But he's discovering, getting into junior high now, just within days of getting into junior high, that, like, as he says, everybody at school, I remember using that expression too, everybody at school, their parents let them just watch whatever on YouTube and surf and do whatever on the internet, And we've only allowed him to watch certain approved YouTubers and stuff. But we're seeing now, okay, we need to figure out a way to release those restrictions, but still be able to protect his mind and his heart from things that would draw him into sin, or things that would shape his thinking in ways that we don't want, So, yeah, we're navigating that right now. That should be interesting to figure out. Thanks to a little creative wiring, I was able to tap us into a power source. They're less common up here, but if you know where to look. Dang it! I didn't do my timer thing. When did I start this game? I don't know. I should probably stop it at about 7:30. We'll say. Thanks to a little creative wiring, I was able to tap us into a power source. They're less common up here, but if you know where to look, there are still plenty of live power lines buried all over the wasteland. For all their arrogance, they knew a thing or two about engineering before the bombs. I have to admit, it's remarkable that there's still power to be had after all these years. Now that we've got all the power we'd want, I can bring our defensive turret online and try to get the dish motors operational. Finally got to begin on my work in earnest today. Dish motivators are offline, but I was able to input some basic coordinates and ping nearby SATCOM arrays to the southwest and east. Oh, this might be giving me some kind of a quest here maybe then for these kinds of locations. There was some interference pinging the NN03D array Probably rad roaches or something making a nest in the dishes. It may be worth sending one or two of the mercs over there to clean it out in case I can use those towers to amplify my own signal. There were dozens of military satellites in orbit just from the old records I found in the ruins. There must have been hundreds before the war. If I can find just a few operational platforms. First attempts at atmospheric pinging returned negative. Considering that the motivators are still non-functional, it's going to be difficult to catch much of anything that doesn't pass directly over us. Still, I cannot rule out other mechanical failure. I haven't got much astronomical reference material with me, but maybe I can find an old chart and wait until a celestial body passes over to confirm signal. Of course, that may take years. I'll have to keep working on the motivators. What a lucky break! I pinged an orbiting body successfully today. Registration ID is US.21TXH, call sign Highwater Trouser. I'll begin tracking it and cross-reference the registration information with the data I've got. Turns out I don't have specific data on my satellite, but the registration format suggests that it's a stationary micronuclear weapons platform. Tracking data appears to confirm this. The thing hasn't moved in the week I've been tracking it. Without a targeting platform at my disposal, sending an activation code would only cause it to drop a payload directly on top of this area. Not exactly what I'm aiming for, but I'll keep the codes handy just in case. Alright. Okay. Well, what is this? Some kind of a... Here we go. I've learned how to sneak a little bit more. I don't think I need that. Alright. We continue on. I think I'm okay for now. For me, getting back to the topic of, you know, what defines an RPG, there's two things that I think of. One, I think of its adherence to classic D&D rules. I say D&D specifically because first edition D&D is arguably the first role-playing game. And all other role-playing games, whether paper and pencil, computer, or anything in between, have taken ideas from that or from something that took ideas from that. They've maybe modified them, they've given different names to different elements, but it all comes back to that. And so mechanically, its adherence in some way to those systems. For example, an XP system. That's, you win a lot of points for me in the category of are you an RPG or not if you have an XP system. But there are definitely games that use XP systems that they're XP systems in name only. You know, like, yes, you get experience points, but what you have to spend those points on, you might as well just have the game automatically assign the points for you. It's just an illusion of giving you the ability to customize your character in the way that experience points are used in a role-playing game to do, because they at the very least advance you to the next level, you know. I suppose on a very base level, experience points in first edition D&D, if I remember correctly, just did that. They were just a measurement of when do you get to have new upgraded abilities, you know. But choice, I think, is a big deal in terms of choosing, like, the dialogue options. So social choices in a game can be a big factor in whether or not it's a role-playing game. Now, of course, you didn't have that in the classic NES role-playing games and SNES role-playing games. You'd have choice every now and then in dialogue, but pretty rarely. It was mostly just reading the story as it happened. And then your choice was more in where you went, what you explored, the XP systems and stuff like that. The more helpful phrase to me has been playing a role. If it's a role-playing game, then for me, I want to see emphasis on, at least more emphasis on playing a role than emphasis on anything requiring dexterity skills in real life. I think in the same way, there are some role players that would object to playing D&D, where instead of rolling dice, where it's, you know, you're playing this you're playing with statistical averages and percentage chances. That's what the rolling dice is about. It's not a dexterity feat. So if suddenly the D&D rules change and said, okay, now every time you want to do combat, you have to play this little game of tiddlywinks, or you have to play this game of marbles, and you have to nick the right marble and stuff, and that's how you do. I remember there was when I went to Gen Con back in 2010. It's the only time I've ever been to Gen Con. I went through this live dungeon experience, but combat in that was not rolling dice. It was this shuffleboard game that you played. And I'm like, crap, really? I don't want to play. I don't want to play shuffleboard. That requires dexterity and skill. I just want to work my stats and make good choices. So, to me, the more you require in terms of hand-eye coordination, reflex skills, dexterity, you're stepping away both from the tradition mechanically of the rules of role-playing, from where they originated from, and from the very wording itself. You are not emphasizing playing a role as much as you are doing some kind of a physical activity, taking on a physical challenge, like a sport, that's maybe limited to your hands and your eyes. So that's, I don't think we're going to settle on a definitive answer of what is an RPG, what elements must an RPG have in order to be an RPG. But I do think, certainly for me, and I suspect that a lot of people would find agreement with those sentiments, that adherence to where RPGs originate from mechanically, and then adherence to the words themselves, emphasis, at least comparative emphasis, on playing a role over some kind of a physical challenge, I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Does that stuff not matter to you at all? Because there's the argument you could make that, like, well, Pater, when you're playing Super Mario Brothers, you're playing the role of Mario. You're just controlling him like a puppet, like a puppeteer controls strings, or a puppet with strings, So I get it. It's not perfect, but I don't know. I'd be interested in any of your thoughts on what I just said, or on what you think are the essential elements, or the elements that should be prioritized if you're going to call something even a type of RPG. Hey, here's that nuclear activation code. That might be handy. Ooh, SATCOM array coordinates. I'm going to want those. I don't want all this stuff. Let's see here. Rugged Warrior asks, did Fallout 76 ever redeem itself? I think that's a question probably for the individual player. I'm sure for some it has, and for others it never required redeeming. For me, the only way that could be a redeemable experience to me would be if they take away the PlayStation Plus requirement and let me play it the same way that I play Conan Exiles. Where it certainly can be this big, large server multiplayer experience, but you can also just use your own console as your own self-contained server and do your thing by yourself, and still have a world that's at least somewhat interesting to interact with. Adam Calling says, your thoughts seem to make sense to me. Is the ability to grind an important element? I'm glad you brought that up, Colin. Let me get to this. I want to see what these things are here. I want to find those coordinates. Do I not? Maybe they're just like quest items that I can't actually interact with. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to explore this place more to see if those codes become relevant. Oh, did I pick him up from her? Like she was running away and I got him from her? Or did I get him off of this guy? I think I might have got him from her, so it's a good thing I killed her. Mercilessly. Let's see here. No, that does have some weight to it. Okay. Well, how's my armor looking? 28 damage resistance. What would I have if I put this on? Oh, no, not near as good. Okay, I'll stick with this. To me, the ability to grind is very important. It's one of the first things I check. Because there are plenty of RPGs that do not allow you to grind. Divinity Original Sin is one of those. You can't grind. I mean, depends on what you mean by grind. Grinding would be, if we're to try and define that, I would say it's a repetitive action that is manageable, easily manageable by the player, that allows them to grow in their passive abilities in order to give them an edge in the game. That's not half bad. That just kind of splurted out, but it's not half bad. We can massage that a bit, but that's a pretty good starting point, I think. And Divinity Original Sin, you know, you can grind for money by stealing stuff. That's one of the main tricks that you should take advantage of if you want to have an edge in that game. But that doesn't make room for characters. If you want to play as a good character, then combat is going to be more tactically difficult for you as a good character who does not want to steal. Because you won't have you won't be able to bankroll your party in the same way that someone who goes around and says, yeah, I can totally exploit stealing these paintings and selling them. So there's limited grinding there. And there's grinding in the sense that maybe you could take on some unnecessary side quests that will net you experience in order to make mainline quest encounters less difficult. But there's not a ton of quests that are at your level or lower. I mean, in my experience, if you want to fight only enemies that are at your level or lower, or maybe one level higher than you, you better be scouring walkthroughs to do every single quest you possibly can, to get every bit of the XP you can. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself fighting enemies that are 2, 3, or more levels higher than you in Divinity Original Sin, I think. So what I mean by able to grind my way out of trouble, which is an expression I use sometimes when I'm reviewing games, what I mean is you have some kind of endless source of grinding. Usually in RPGs, that's going to be respawning enemies. You leave an area, you come back, there'll be more enemies there, you can fight them again and get experience from them. So there is theoretically an endless supply of experience points if you want to put in the time. So that is important to me, because some games, if I play like the first 5 hours like I do it, like, you know, for my reviews most of the time, and I sense that it's difficult for me, or it's more tactical than I want it to be, I may not risk playing the rest of the game or buying that game if it's a rental or whatever, because if I can't tell, if I don't have assurance that there is an endless supply of XP to be grinded somewhere, then I don't want to, because of game design, a game design choice, or what I would subjectively call a bad game design choice, or bad game design. I don't want to run into a scenario where 30 hours into a 70-hour game, or 30 hours into a 40-hour game, there's a difficulty spike for whatever reason that's really frustrating to me, and I can't see a way out of it. And I can't finish the game. For me, I don't want to ever be in a situation where a game at some point becomes too difficult or frustratingly difficult for me to be able to finish, or to have patience to finish. That's one of the things I hate most in a video game experience. If I don't finish a game, I want it to be because I lose interest in it, not because it becomes too difficult for me, or some element is frustrating or whatever, or I get locked out of something, you know. So, yeah. Hey, Joel! Good to see your name. Joel's an old friend of mine. Let's see here. Alright, that's the computer I was just at, right? Okay, I need to make some progress. I've been doing a lot of blabbing in this one room, so I'm sorry for those of you that have wanted to see a little more action. Let me see if I can give that to you before I get back into the comments again. Turret control system. Oh, this business. Well, this isn't exactly action, is it? Let's see here. I get 4 attempts. 1, 2, 3... Are there only 4 words? Oh, there's 5 words. Okay, so let's just do 1. 4 out of 8 are correct. Let's look for those little special things, which I don't think they tell you about in tutorials for this game, but they should. Dud removed. Can we do at least one more? Dud removed. Okay, so I have 3 words left and 3 guesses left. So what was my word? Shrugged, and 4 out of 8 are correct. Oh, I already do that one. Shrugged, so it's probably shielded, right? I bumped up my hacking skill quite a bit, so those puzzles are a lot easier than they could otherwise be. Let's see here. No targeting data. Please exercise caution. Deactivate turret system. How about that? What do we got here? Anything useful? Not really. I really like the crafting upgrades in Fallout 4 and how they make so much of the crap that you pick up suddenly useful. I do wish that that the base building had more incentive, but I really like the crafting system in that game. Alright, I believe someone was nuking me from up here. Oh no, he jumped down and came in the front door, didn't he? I might have already killed him.
Over here.
Oh jeez! Well, that's not what a Terminator would say. He would just stand there and get shot, and then do that. Alright. Sorry, that wasn't very good Terminator role-playing, guys. Alright. And stim packs in my headcanon I pick up merely to regenerate my human appearance so that I can continue to blend in. Stim pack, Radaway, done. Empty, ooh, yeah. I do like taking drugs. I don't quite have a headcanon for using drugs in this game. Anybody, employ any interesting headcanon? That's a question I think I asked on the podcast this week or last. Or maybe that was on the forums. I can't remember when I asked that. Any interesting headcanon you've brought into a video game? For whatever reason. Decrypt coordinates. Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. So that's what I want to do for now. I just want to get these on my map so I can go check them out. High water trousers activation. I don't know if I want to do that. Is that going to set off the nuke? Let's save real fast. Excuse me. My son, Adam Collings says, asked for an RPG called Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch, which was heavily discounted. Maybe not the game I would have chosen, but we have it, so I played a bit myself. I think I've heard good things about that. Is that the second Ni no Kuni game? I want to say there's at least 2, and that the second one was kind of a recent return to the series after quite a gap, if I remember correctly. But I believe that first game maybe wasn't a huge success in the market, but is very fondly loved by its fans. So, yeah, you might discover that you and or your son have a real special experience there. Alright, let's try this. Oh, it is commencing launch. Am I about to nuke myself? I should maybe get out of here.
Aha!
Oh, he's still alive. Oh, crap. Oh, that was the flamethrower. Oh, crap! That was nuts! Now, he was burning me, but when I heard that sound, I was like... Is that him burning me, or is that like a rocket coming in? Oh my gosh, did I just land in some weird random place? Am I gonna be able to... I might not be able to survive this. Let's see here. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Okay. Let's just reload that save. Oh, let's load the autosave. Yeah. Let's see here.
Aha!
Oh, gotta kill this guy. Oh, don't fall in a hole this time, dude. There is some kind of a thing going on. I heard like a... Did you guys hear that? I think like the ground was rumbling. Am I about to get nuked? I don't see imminent death. So... I don't know what just happened. Okay, well, I don't like that. I don't like not knowing what I just did. So, we're going back here. I'll still go up and kill that guy, because I am a Terminator. But I'm not gonna set off the... I'm not gonna launch the deal yet. Okay, I already got that. Alright, let's go take care of this guy. Alright, I'm missing some chat now. Oh, nice! Adam, he says, I've found that grinding in that game is a great activity to do while working out on the exercise bike. It distracts me so much I lose track of time and the exercise is easier to finish. I've definitely heard of that being a thing among gamers.
There you are.
Like using an exercise bike or a treadmill.
Play.
While playing a game. Yeah, I think if I had an exercise bike, I would definitely be exploring that. That's cool. That's cool, man. Crawling in my skin says, generally speaking, would you say you prefer the RPGs from this gen or the 360 era more? Oh, man. Crawling? That's a great question. Oh. I think... Hang on a second. I'm going to do something here. I'm going to pull up my... I've got a list of games in my library, and I'm going to need to consult that really quick. Let me see here. Okay, the lists are both too big to fit on the screen at the same time. But let me look at the RPGs here. And this is where it gets murky, because there are games that definitely have RPG elements. I mean, Bethesda's heyday is the 360 era, right? Wouldn't we agree on that? Because that's when they put out Oblivion, that's when they put out Skyrim, that's when they put out Fallout 3 and its expansions, and although they didn't themselves, they published at least Fallout New Vegas. And then you had Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, you know, kind of a game that certainly took inspiration from Bethesda games. So what I'm seeing at a glance here, 360 generation just on Bethesda alone is looking really good. Let me scroll down just a little bit here. Oops. Let's see here. The thing with the PS4 and Xbox One generation is that's when indie games really started being noticed a lot more by gamers, by reviewers. And so there's all these games now like Darkest Dungeon and some of these smaller experiences, Stardew Valley, which is arguably an RPG. So there's far more smaller, great experiences on this current generation that we're in right now that they were just starting to... It was really a novelty on Xbox 360 when a game would come out and be part of like the Summer of Arcade on Xbox 360 and be like, oh man, this is this really cool indie game. And that was really something. And now there's just so much out there. I think the variety for RPGs much stronger on PlayStation in this generation, in the PlayStation 4 generation. Let me see if there's any games here that really kind of meet the heights, though, of those Bethesda games. I mean, you had Fallout 4, which was great, but not... It didn't move things forward in the same way. You've got Ubisoft games, which in recent years have really leaned on RPG elements, but they're certainly action RPGs at most, which you could say the same thing of Bethesda's games. Those are action RPGs, you know. Man. I think... a lot to scan through here. Ugh. Here's what I'll say. For my experience and my money, I think my greatest heights of AAA RPGs happened in the 360 era. But I have had more really fantastic experiences that maybe individually don't reach the heights of those individual games that were at the AAA level on 360. But like some fantastic experiences that are not AAA in this generation. I mean, Pillars of Eternity. It's one of my favorite games of all time. That is not a AAA game. And this year's Deep Sky Derelicts. It's this little, like, flash animation looking, card-based, turn-based RPG dungeon crawl. And right now, if no other games came out this year and I just had to make the decision right now, that would be my game of the year. So there have just been... And Monster Hunter World, well, that we could really get into discussion on, is that an RPG? I would be willing to say that is not an RPG. It's still categorized by some outlets as an RPG, some kind of an RPG. I'm ready to say it's not. I don't even know if I would call it an action RPG. I don't think I would. I'm second guessing myself now. Anyway, because you can grind in that game. There is a grinding of a kind. Anyway, I guess that's what I would say about that. Hang on a second, guys. All right. Thank you for your patience, as I had to pull up some other screens. And what is he doing? He's like, hey, do you want to keep your gun? You want to be buried with it? Or can I have it, maybe? All right. Oh, I missed a sunrise. I'll bet it was beautiful. All right. Yeah, let's... Oh, we gotta be done with this game, I think. Well, let's see, we've got 2 more games. Yeah, we gotta be done with this game. Okay. I didn't do much. I will just exit right from there. And let's jump back to my PS4 for the rest of the evening. Thank you guys all for coming out, by the way. I know I usually wait till the end to say that, but thank you all for coming out. I was looking forward to this stream. It's definitely been some down points during my week. I think the deepest parts of my grief, at least for now, seem to have been earlier in the week. So I've been doing better as the week has gone on, but this was still a real nice treat to have for me to end my work week. Alright, I'm gonna play some Darkest Dungeon. Here I'm talking about grieving and loss, and now here's a bright point, Darkest Dungeon. I play this game almost exclusively on my Vita, because I really enjoy it, and I want to have a game that I'm drawn to play on my Vita when my wife is just kind of bumming around on a couch. Maybe watching one of her shows, or reading a book on her iPad, or dinking around on social media or whatever.
Ruin has come to our family.
Because it's so easy in our stage of life, once the boys are stinking in bed, to just kind of like recover in our own ways, which can end up being in different rooms, and then, you know, we can easily find that over the course of 3 nights we haven't been together at all during those 3 nights. We've each done our own things, and we see each other at dinner, and then we see each other when we come to bed, you know. And you know, every couple's different in terms of what level of engagement is required to help them continue growing in their relationship, but I want to have something more. I want to share space at the very least with my wife more frequently than I have been. So, but when you buy this game on PS4, you get cross-buy for both PS4 and Vita, and you can also transfer your save really easily. You don't even need PlayStation Plus, which is really awesome. I've discovered that I don't think I've run into a game of mine that has cross-save yet that requires PlayStation Plus, which surprises me a little bit, because it's a great little feature. Anyway, okay, I'll have to do that sometime. Roleplay Cafe says, get the high water trousers activation. You can rename your character Captain High Pants. Okay, good to know. Rugged Warrior says, not a video game, but my headcanon for Back to the Future is that Marty's parents believe the real Calvin Klein is the guy they met in high school. I had never once considered that. That is awesome. Just watched that movie again with my boys, them seeing it for the first time about a month ago. Hang on, let me catch up here. Gabriel Stinson, in Assassin's Creed games I play as if most of the enemies are just soldiers doing their jobs and don't know about the Templar assassin fight, so I try and knock them out. Okay. Yeah, that's some interesting headcanon there. So you try to be non-lethal because you're like, these guys are not evil, they're just doing their job, you know? My skills force me to choose a different metagame, because I'm like, now, if I knock this guy out, he's going to cause me trouble later. My skills do not allow for that kind of trouble, so he's evil. All these people are the worst evil that there has ever been. Or I am. One of the two. Let's see here. Okay, Adam, I probably missed you already, but thank you so much for coming by. Joel Nelson says, I can't get into turn-based RPG games. I lack the patience to tolerate them. That's why I've never been able to I assume he means play anything from the Final Fantasy series. Joel, I could be remembering things, but that rings a bell. Like in junior high, late elementary and junior high, which is when you and I were going to the same church, I think we had different tastes in games. Like even then, it was very Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure now. Well, no, because I was discovering RPGs at that time. Hey, can you... If you... Come here. Do you want to say goodnight? Okay, let me come to you. Yeah, it's hot in Arizona, and so one of my sons is coming to say goodnight, but he's not appropriately clothed for the internet because it's hot in Arizona. For my 7th consecutive year, I'm participating in Extra Life, a charity event that raises funds to provide medical care for children in urgent need. I'm also leading the Christian Geek Central Extra Life team, which you're still welcome to join by following the link in the description below. Once again this year, I'm drawing attention to our team's fundraising by performing a 24-hour marathon of video gaming that I will stream live on youtube.com/ChristianGeekCentral and ChristianGeekCentral.com beginning 5 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday, November 7th. You can donate on my page or any team member's page by following the links below, where you will also find incentives and rewards for doing so. On my page, for example, for a donation of $5, you can choose a topic to add to my +3 page of many topics that I'll be blabbing my opinions on during the live stream. For $10, you get the previous reward and a download code for a free copy of the Spirit Blade Special Edition audio drama. For $20, you get the previous rewards and you can choose a game for me to play during my November 7th live stream. Pick a favorite or torture me with something terrible or rage-inducingly difficult. For $30, you get the previous rewards and you can choose a song for me to sing during my November 7th live stream. Pick an old favorite of yours or just make me humiliate and torture myself with something nobody wants to hear. And for $50 or more, you get the previous rewards and a download code for every MP3 product at spiritblade.com. That's an $80 value. On top of that, I have set fundraising milestones that will unlock strange and unusual happenings as I reach them. At $200, I'll have a free download day for everyone who visits spiritblade.com on November 11th. And as my total goes beyond $200, I'll unlock increasingly more content for the free download day. And depending how far beyond $200 my fundraising goes, during my November 7th live stream, I will show embarrassing clips of a movie I made in college with fellow Spirit Blade actor Michael Tully, put on a pair of Frozen socks and a Frozen t-shirt at the same time, shoot water up my nose with a turkey baster, and have my wife Holly play a video game with me for 30 minutes. And if I reach a personal fundraising total of $500 or more, I will face my greatest and most hated enemy in video gaming. I will finally beat Super Mario Bros. Without using cheat codes by the end of 2020, publishing video of my efforts and eventual success, and also make my first attempts during my Extra Life marathon. I freaking hate that game, but I will do this for those kids and their families and for you sadistic people who donate money to make it happen. Now, there are some stipulations and time limits on those rewards and milestones, so quickly follow the link below to my fundraising page for all the details. I hope you will be a part of helping me and the Christian Geek Central team do some good for some kids and families who really need it, and then I hope you'll join me at youtube.com/ChristianGeekCentral for my 24-hour video gaming marathon starting 5 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday, November 7th. Hope to see you then.